Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. What's going on? Thank you for tuning in to a special Monday morning edition of the Regular Fan Show, hosted by the fans for the fans. It's Vinny Fredericks, Mr. Bruce Juno, after a busy last week. Apologies, no shows last week, but we're back better than ever, ready to get back on the grind, hit the ground running. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week, and we got a lot to talk about, don't we, Bruce? Good morning, buddy. How are we?
Oh, we're doing good, guy. We're doing good. Yeah, it was a busy week slash weekend for the both of us.
Yeah.
First off, I like that new intro music that they added to this.
Yeah, I was
That's
gonna
pretty.
say, yeah, we got new intro music. It was that was a vibe.
Yeah. I was jamming out to that. I was like, oh, this is something different. But yeah, it was obviously a busy week. Obviously, we got lives, but it be what it be. It is what it is. A lot of stuff went down. A lot of stuff recently. A lot of stuff last week. So there's a lot to touch on, and we love to see it. And I finally get to debut not my new mic, but my mic that I fixed.
The fixed mic. Yeah,
Yes.
I can't believe it's been that long. I remember when you called me to show me that the
Yeah.
mic is now officially, back to being used and in good use. But I can't believe it's been that long. We haven't had a show since then. But it sounds
Yeah.
good. That voice is flowing ever so beautifully through the fixed mic, and it's good to hear you this smoothly, Bruce.
Well, hopefully, yeah. I know the comments, have been calling me a tuna can and all this other stuff. So I had to make sure to figure something out. So I made sure to figure this out, and yeah, it's definitely. I at least think it sounds better than it did before. I don't hear myself, so
Yeah,
we're
it
gonna
sounds
go
pretty
out on a
crisp.
whim
Yeah, it
and say
sounds
that it's
nice and
good.
crisp. I think you're doing pretty good. Um,
Hey, we
and
try,
you
we
know,
try.
hey, Team Canada figured some things out against the U.S. in the
Oh,
Four Nations final. As we'll start there. Big thing that happened this past week. All
got my
right. Bruce
Can
got
Am
his
jersey on.
Bruce got his jersey on. He's ready to talk all things hockey. I tell you what, Bruce, this Four Nations tournament as a whole, I think was a huge slam dunk, home run, big W, whatever you want to call it. This was amazing for the sport of hockey. It got me a little bit more into hockey. It gave me something to kind of watch over the week and just, you know, enjoy seeing the best players on the face of the earth going at it, representing their country. And, these guys, it replaced the NHL All-Star game, but these guys, they were going out playing for something bigger than themselves. It was competitive. There are guys that got injured in this Four Nations tournament that don't care because it was something that they wanted to be a part of, and you could see that in the way that they played. So, Bruce, I know you're the bigger hockey expert compared to me, but what'd you make of the Four Nations tournament in the final against Canada?
Dude, it was sweet. And I mean, also shout out Finland, shout out Sweden. They're always those teams that, you see all going back like 50 years ago. They're always a competitive team, but it tends to not work out for them,
Hmm.
despite what happens. But yeah, finals, Canada, USA, the anticipated, I'd say rematch because obviously the US beat them in the round robin, but
Yep.
everyone knew it was going to be them two in the finals. That first matchup didn't matter. It was coming down to who would take it home, and of course, who else but Connor McDavid
Yep.
to
Dude, how do you
absolutely,
leave Connor McDavid that open?
dude. Austin Matthews. I have been saying this for like a week since it happened. Austin Matthews, why are you leaving Connor McDavid wide open in the slot? Wide
The
open in
best
the
player
slot.
in the sport.
That's what I'm saying. He leaves like to go to the corner. I forget who had the puck in the corner. Foxy's going out to play the puck, but Austin Matthews decides, okay, I'm gonna go too. I'm gonna leave the best player in hockey wide open in the slot to literally have all the time in the world to pick his shot, and
Hmm.
he's not gonna miss from there. And yeah, we had a lot of chances. A lot of chances went to the U.S., but it was just, of course, it was Connor McDavid to absolutely crush all the hopes and dreams of any American fan out there. They had it all hyped up because they're playing the Herb Brooks Miracle on Ice. They were getting everybody riled up, and
Yep.
everyone's like, "This is our year. Like, it's gonna happen. We're gonna finally topple the Canadians for the first time in almost almost 30 years. It's been almost 30 years since we beat the Canadians. But Jordan Biddington decided he wanted to stand on his head and net, and then Connor McDavid wide open in the slot from Mitch Marner, and absolutely crushed all the hopes and dreams of any American out there.
Yeah, it was a brutal ending. I tell you what, Bennington was kind of keeping them in it, though. They did not play very well the first period. Up until the end there, Bennington was really their only shot at staying in this game. You know, they were playing slow. They couldn't get anything going in the first period until finally the US needed to wake up a little bit. You know, they started off sluggish, and it was certainly a rough loss, especially in Boston. You know, like you go to Canada, to Montreal, you beat them on their turf. And then in the game that really matters, the championship, it's on your turf in Boston, where you know that those fans are going to be going absolutely wild against Team Canada, and you can't get the job done. Yeah, brutal loss. Canada is still, the hockey is still the national sport of Canada, so we'll let them have it. But again, this was all really cool to see, watching these players.
Awesome.
And the fact that now we're going to get to see this again in just 1 year in the 2026 Olympics for the first time since, I want to say, it's been 8 or 12 years since we've seen NHL players play in the Olympics. It's been a while. So we're going to get to see the best players in the world competing again.
Well, just a couple things to touch on. Like, first off, you got to think of how much hockey has evolved from like the 1980 Olympics. It was a bunch of college kids.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of college kids went to the Olympics and beat the Soviets and then beat the Finns. A bunch of college kids. Now you got the best players in the world. The sport has just evolved so much. And now you get to see a bunch of Chell guys going head to head year in and year out, literally for their country, because now we got 4 nations. So it's so sick. All I'm saying is, I don't care what's happening in the world. Team Russia has to be in the Olympics. I do not care. Because they weren't allowed for this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah.
But you gotta. I just looked up, right, who would be on Team Canada. And
Team Russia.
Or Team Russia. Yeah, Team Russia, I mean. And I know you may not know like the most about hockey, but this roster
I know they got Ovechkin.
Yeah, you've got Ovi, you've got Svechnikov, you've got Malkin, you've got Nikita Kucherov, you've got Barbashev, Nishushkin, Panarin, Kaprizov. Defense, you've got Sergachev, Zadorov, Zaitsev, Orlov. You go to goalie. There are 3 goalies that would probably play: Shesterkin, Sorokin, Vasilevsky. Like, how do you not? I get that, whatever's happening in the world, whatever. Don't translate that over to sports, because you need to see a team like this play. It's like, this is insane.
Yeah.
They've got to be in the Olympics.
Yeah, it'd be like having the, not having the U.S. in basketball for the World Cup or for the Olympics. Like, you got to have, Russia, they're up there with Canada for what would probably be the most dominant country in the sport of hockey. So, it's certainly a shame not having that team out there, not given what they would represent right now. Like, it makes sense, but that's just us from the sporting aspect of it alone. That's a matchup you want to watch, is Russia versus Canada or Russia versus the U.S. That's just a clash of 2 great teams that everybody, hockey fans, would enjoy. It's understandable why, given everything going on, that they're not out there, but it does certainly, suck that you don't get to see that matchup, because it would have been a hell of a good game to watch.
Yeah, it's like think about separation of church and state, like separation of sport and world. Like,
let's separate the politics from the sports. Who forget all the politic BS. Just let them go out and play some hockey.
Literally, because I'm not saying they're gonna, they're better than Canada. Like, obviously, Canada's that dog. The dog in the fight that you gotta beat.
Canada's running the show.
But like, Russia has just a good shot as the Americans to beat them, and they weren't allowed to compete. And I think, imagine Imagine an 8 Nations Cup. Like, imagine you just bring in like Russia.
Now we're
I don't
talking.
know, Czech Republic, maybe like a I don't know. Like you bring in other teams, and I know there aren't as many players.
Yeah,
It'd
would
be
these
harder
teams really be competitive?
I
And
mean,
that's a genuine question. I'm not sure how competitive they would be.
I mean, maybe not necessarily, but like, they'd be able to compete with the Finns and the Swedes, and they may not be able to necessarily field a roster. Like I get like how like those main 4 countries can put together a team much easier than other teams. But think of the Olympics. You
Mhm.
have how many countries competing?
do. Yeah, you
you
do
can
have a
find a
lot.
way. That's what I'm saying. Actually, I'm gonna look this up right now. I'm gonna look up countries with the most NHL players numbers.
Okay.
And let's
Get a
see.
little top 10 going.
Let's see where we can get going. Because I feel like if you can get if you can like okay, Canada, like Russia has more than Sweden. Okay, so maybe it'd be a little harder to get. So maybe a 6 Nations Cup.
Six
Maybe a
Nations.
6 Nations cuz Canada's got 396. America's
Mhm.
got 271. Sweden's got 93, Russia's got 61, Finland's got 51, and then Czech Republic's got 29. So,
Okay.
let the Czech Republic compete. Let them see what they got,
Give them a chance.
Like I don't know
You never
necessarily
know. Give them a
positions
shot.
wise, but yeah,
Yeah.
and then maybe put together like a rest of Europe team. And like
Mhm.
you got players in Switzerland, Germany, Denmark, Slovenia, Slovakia. Like, you got those players.
Yeah.
Let them
Do like
do
do
their
like
thing.
a do like a European Union hockey club or
Yeah.
something like that.
Like yeah, I
Something
feel like
crazy.
at least do like a 6 Nations and let the Czechs be in it, let Russia be in it. I mean, I get it would be a little harder for the Czechs to field a team, but they can. They're 29 players. There's enough
Yeah.
to field a
There's
roster there.
enough. That's enough to put you have what? How many on the ice? Like 5, 6? Like, you don't they'd
Yeah,
be able to figure it out.
Pasternak, Hurdle, like
Yeah, see, these are guys that you would
Nietzsche's,
want. Yeah,
like
you would
you
wanna
have
see guys
Czechs.
like that. Yeah. Those
You
are
have
names that you
Czechs that can
definitely
play.
need in a Six Nation tournament.
That's what I'm
I mean,
saying.
that
Like, I'm looking at
those names draw in more fans than I think they realize.
yeah, Palat, Keedle. Like they have good players. Like it's like I get they may not have they have like 8 goalies, but I mean there's like
Okay? They got plenty of
there's
goalies to
enough
go
there.
around.
There's enough there. I think there's enough there to let the Czechs play. But I don't know. I just think it'd be cool. I like things that have more. I like big tournaments. Why I'm such a
Yeah.
big, college basketball guy. You got
Mhm.
357 teams out there just winging it. Like,
Yep.
let the Czechs wing it.
Well, speaking of those teams, Bruce, college basketball, March Madness right around the corner. March 16th cannot get here soon enough for Selection Sunday. We get a
Oh
new
yeah.
top 25 coming out later today, or who knows, maybe it'll drop during the broadcast here. But right now, let's go through this last Saturday slate and some of the other games from yesterday and beyond, starting with Kentucky, Alabama. Alabama,
Bam.
big win,
Bam.
96-83. Mark Sears, 30-point bomb
Bro, Mark Sears is a
in this win
dog.
over the Wildcats. Mark Sears is an absolute dog. Guarantee he goes, probably top 10 this year's NBA
Yeah,
draft.
dude, it's not
I
top
don't
5,
see
top 3. That
yeah,
kid is disgusting.
yeah, guaranteed lottery pick for sure. And Alabama, they live and die by the three. That's the thing with them. They
Yeah.
love to get it inside and they love to take their threes. They hate shooting the mid-range. And the thing with teams like that is that it's so risky come March Madness because one game you're off, one game you guys can't get the shots to fall. Their defense is not going to bail them out in a March Madness game.
But they score so many points in games. It's like
Oh, I know. That's their bread and butter.
are they like last season? They were the top shooting team. They were the top scoring team. Like they've got to be
They
this.
are
Yeah,
they are
this
this
year
year
they are
too.
2
They
by
100%
three
are.
and a half points per game,
Yeah.
3.7 points per game. Like they're disgusting. They're so good offensively and rebounding. They're top rebounding team in the nation.
Yep. That's the thing,
They're going to
if
be
they
hard to
can
beat. But
Yeah, they're gonna be hard to beat for sure, but it's kind of the perfect combo you can have because when those 3-pointers aren't falling, you need the rebounds to help you extend possessions and give yourself more opportunities to get that shot to start falling. But we'll see. We'll see. Alabama probably gonna end up being one of the 1 seeds. I think last I saw the predicted 1
100%.
seeds, there was 3 SEC teams. You have
Probably
Auburn,
Auburn,
Florida.
Alabama, and Florida.
Yeah, and then Duke as your last number 1 seed. So we'll
Yeah.
see. I mean, a team like Houston could sneak their way up to the number 1 seed, especially after beating a fellow top 10 team in Iowa State on Saturday, 68-59, the final in this one. And Houston, 28 from LJ Cryer, 19 from Milos Uzan. Houston certainly got a shot this year. And I feel like every year Houston's right on that brink. They're right
Yeah.
around that bubble of championship contender team, but something always seems to fall apart down the stretch here. But I tell you what,
Exactly.
it's going to be a big momentum building win against Iowa State on Saturday.
Well, them moving to the Big 12 is definitely boosts their resume. Like, not saying they didn't have a good resume before, but
They're playing
when they
better
move
comp.
to a conference like the Big 12, it just makes everything so much better for them. And I mean, Iowa State is falling apart. Like,
They really
the beginning of the
are.
season, they looked so good, and down the stretch, they've looked like, what's happening? What's
Yeah.
happening down there in Iowa, dude?
Since they've actually gotten into the Big 12 schedule, it hasn't been very good. I mean, they've gotten some big wins over teams like Kansas, Baylor, but then you have a 3-game losing streak against Arizona, Kansas State, and Kansas. And losing 3 straight is never good. And you followed up with 4 big wins, but all against, I'd call them good teams, but TCU, UCF, Cincinnati, and Colorado. Those aren't quad 1 wins. They keep you
Yeah,
from slipping in the standings and falling out of the rankings, but they're not helping you make your case for March. And then you followed
but
up with a tough loss against Houston. We'll see. They have a pretty favorable schedule to close out the regular season, so they'll
yeah.
still be in a good shot to get into this to get to the Big 12 championship.
I mean, personally, I think what needs to maybe change a little bit when it comes to March Madness is I get it. I get that the bigger teams, the bigger schedules, the SECs, the Big Tens, the ACCs, the Big 12s, like I get it. They play those tougher teams. But if there's more, you know, if there's more Big West teams that are going, 36-2, and you got 3 of them, but you're only given one spot to
Yeah,
one team. Like,
try and shake
I'm
things
pretty
up a
sure
little
right
bit.
now, Oklahoma, who is currently they're 17-10, they're 4-10 in the SEC, and they have a
Yep,
55% chance at making it to March.
that's
It's
ridiculous.
like
That's just
I get it.
ridiculous.
I get that they play these better teams. I get that they may have some top 25 ranked teams, whatever that they've beat, yada yada blah blah. But you got teams playing in those conferences, like all
hmm
those mid-major conferences, that you're giving one team a bid.
Yeah. I mean,
I think
let's look at the Missouri Valley Conference. Okay. Is more than one team in the Missouri Valley going to make it? No, they're only getting one. But you got Drake, who's 25-3 overall. Northern Iowa's 19-10, 13-5 in the conference. Bradley is 22-7 on the year.
yeah.
Like, these are teams that, albeit I'm not expecting them to go on a Cinderella run necessarily, but give more than just one team there a bid.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand wanting as many SEC schools, for example, as possible because so many of them are talented. You could have 8 to 10 and they'll all have a shot at knocking anybody off. But there's no reason for a team like Oklahoma, who is third to last in the conference, should
Yeah.
be getting a bid. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
And what's going to happen is, like, using the Missouri Valley Conference for an example. They're going to make it to the Missouri Valley Championship, and like say Bradley gets knocked out early, right? But they have a great record in their conference. They're not going to make
Mhm.
it. And
Nope.
then you're going to get a team
Whole
like
season's for
Drake.
nothing.
I think Drake's going to win it no matter what, but I'm saying
Yeah.
Drake's going to make it to the final, imagine they fall to a UNI or a Belmont or an Illinois State, like one of those teams that aren't as good. Like, I mean, UNI is playing well too, but they're 19-10, whatever.
Yeah.
UNI beats Drake in the MVC final. They don't give Drake a bid, and that's what'll happen.
How can you not have Drake in after the season that they had? Yeah, I hear you. I mean, it's the unfortunate reality of these mid-major conferences to where that there's that much more pressure on you in your conference tournament, because if you don't win, you're not making it to March. It doesn't matter how good your regular season is. You go undefeated and then lose in the conference championship. And if you're in one of these mid-major conferences, that's it. Your season's done just like that. You had all of that success thrown out the window because of one bad game. And I guess that's how March Madness is. One bad game, your whole
But let him
season's
get the
over.
opportunity.
Yeah, imagine how many more Cinderella runs we could see, or
exactly.
We could the UMBCs and the who was the Loyola Chicago's and
yep.
The Oral Roberts. Like, those are the schools that when you see them winning, people start to tune in because they're like, oh,
exactly. You want to see
this could be history.
I get, like, as it comes down to the wire, like, you're expecting those 1s, 2s, 3 seeds, whatever, like someone's going to win it that is going to win it.
Yeah.
Why not give one of these schools a shot? Like, I mean, I'm looking right now at the WCC, West Coast, right? So Gonzaga, whatever, obviously Gonzaga, St. Mary's, they're probably both going to make it. It's how it is.
Yeah.
San Francisco is probably not even going to get a look. But they've been playing great basketball this year. They're 12-4 in the WCC. They're 22-7 overall. They might get knocked out in the semis of the conference tournament, but they're not even going to get a look. And like, I've watched San Francisco. I don't know why. I've kind of become like a little rider on the San Francisco, on the Dons.
You're a Don fan.
I love watching them play. They're fun to watch play. They're not even going to get a look unless they win.
Yeah, and that's
I just think that needs to change. Like you said, like Oklahoma's third from last in their conference, and they're gonna get like they've over a 50% chance at making it to March, and that is that is just appalling. That's stupid. That is.
I mean, when you go 4-10 in conference play, you should not be in the tournament, because yes, you might have taken advantage of a weak non-conference schedule. That's why you have that 17-10 record. But let's do the math here. So 17-10 overall, they're 4-10 in conference play. That means they win what? 13-0 in non-conference games. And then once they saw some real competition out of the SEC, all of a sudden the wheels fall off. Let's look at these teams that they played in non-conference play. I'd say that there was a couple, big wins. Arizona, Michigan, those are impressive wins. Sure. They beat Stetson, East Texas A&M, Alcorn State, Central Arkansas.
What a lineup.
Prairie View. They beat Louisville. They beat Georgia Tech. Okay. Oklahoma State. Cool. Lindenwood.
Those still aren't top teams, though. Those still aren't top teams.
Yep. And
I'm looking at the A10, dude. The A10. Hear me out. Right? The A10. They'll get one. They'll get one like the VCU, the Loyola Chicago. They'll get one. VCU leading the way in the A10. They're 22-5 overall. George Mason tied with them in conference. They're 21-6. Loyola Chicago 9-5 in conference, 18-9. Dayton 18-9. The Bonnies 7-8 in their conference, 19-9. Rhode Island 6-8 in their conference, 17-9. Like, Bonnies and Rhode URI probably won't even make their conference championship, whatever. Like, they won't make the tournament. I get it. They probably played a pretty weak schedule as well. But you got those top 4 teams, and they're known teams, besides maybe George Mason kind of doing a little Cinderella-ing in the A10 right now. But VCU, Loyola, Chicago, Dayton.
You've seen Loyola, Dayton. Like, these are teams that people recognize. Like, it's not surprising that that they should be in the tournament. But will they end up in it? And there, no, because only one team out of the
played
A10 is going to
5
make it.
teams in the AP poll, and they're 2-3. Like, they may have lost 3 of them. They beat 2 of them, and they're not even going to get a look.
Pretty impressive.
Like,
yeah, I mean, you look at the American Athletic. Memphis, North Texas, both sitting at over 20 wins apiece. UAB's at 18 and 9. Yep, they're literally only going to take one team, and
they'll take. I guarantee you what will happen. This is what will happen, right? With the AAC, if Memphis does not win the AAC Conference Championship, they'll still get a bid. If they beat UNT and UNT doesn't win, they will not get a look.
So no matter what, you got Memphis in there.
I guarantee you Memphis will make it into March. But even though UNT, even UAB, obviously you brought it up a good point. UNT's 20-6. They have that 20-win resume right now. They won't get a look unless they win.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee.
It's unfair to these schools, in the mid-major conferences. Like, I understand wanting a few extra SEC or Big 12 or Big East schools, but there's just other teams out there that deserve these bids as well. You look at like the Big East. How many Big East schools are we expecting to make it? St. John's, Creighton, Marquette, maybe UConn.
Yeah, Big East is always strong.
I'd say those 4 have a solid shot at making it, but
St. John's 100% will make it.
100%. Creighton, Marquette, they all deserve it.
Where is it?
Does UConn really deserve a bid over some of these other teams that we were just mentioning?
94% chance.
For who's? For St. John's?
94% chance for UConn to be in.
For a team that's not even in the top 25.
Bro, Xavier, 27% chance. Xavier has a chance.
Memphis,
100% chance.
Is North Texas on there, or a team like Bradley or a Northern
VCU,
Iowa?
72. Drake, 73. George Mason, 28. North Texas, 26. Bradley, 25. Dayton, 12. UNI, 12.
The fact that
12.
all of these schools have these percentage chances that you're throwing out there, and Oklahoma sitting at 55. It's
Liberty,
insane.
47. Like, what? St. Mary's 99? Like, they're not 100? They're
Well, I'll ask you this then, because I've heard differing opinions on the matter, but would you welcome an expansion to the college basketball tournament, or do you think 68 teams is still enough? You just think they need to choose differently?
It's hard because you can't. So I think 60. I think they need to expand, but you always hear like if they expand, it'll have to be 128, and I don't think necessarily. I think they should find a way that it's not 128. It's
because that's
96.
That's a lot.
Or yeah, I think 96. And then 96. You have like those bottom 32 teams. They play some kind of play in to get, those 9 through 16 seeds to move on to those 9 through 16 seeds. Like there's always a way to do it. But it's
that is true.
It's getting to the point where there's teams that deserve to be in. Like, I don't care that they're in like smaller conferences. It doesn't matter. Like, they're putting up resumes. Akron's 13-1 in conference, 21-6. They're playing great basketball this year. They lose in their championship, they won't get a nod. Like, you gotta let these other conferences have a little bit of a say. I'm not saying over, like if you look at the SEC, or let's look at whatever one I come across first.
Of course a Tennessee or an A&M, like those are teams that should still be making the tournament.
That's what I'm saying. Like, like maybe Kansas, like they're 18-9, they're 9-7 in conference. Yes. Like, still let them in. Like, they deserve to be in. They're still a good team. Like, I'm not saying those teams, but like, I'm going to scroll through this bubble watch really quickly. And we got Okay, Baylor at 8-8, 16-11 has an 85% chance at making it. West Virginia 7-9, 16-11, 67% chance. Like, okay, I get it's a big conference, but do you really
Yeah.
need 10 Big 12 teams over
Especially like
2 small conference teams?
yeah, like for a conference like say the SEC where you have over half the conference is ranked at certain points in the season, I'd understand having, 6 to 8 to 10 teams from that
Yeah,
conference.
like
In the Big 12, what has Baylor shown you that they deserve to be in there? What has TCU shown you that they deserve to be in there? TCU is barely above 500. They're 15-12 overall.
mhm,
Like why these teams are getting that recognition when there's other great teams out there that
the Big
they're basically at a disadvantage because of their conference. And if that's the way we're going to do this, then why doesn't every team try to join the Big 12 or the SEC? Why don't all of these teams just try to get their bids to bigger conferences? Because at least then they'll probably never win a conference tournament again, but
Yeah,
they'll at least get looked at as a potential team that can make it without winning their conference. It's just,
and I think a lot
yeah,
of these NBA players that come from, not
yeah.
every NBA player's coming from UConn and Auburn and
In Kansas, Duke.
Alabama. Like,
Yeah, no, there's plenty of dudes that come from these, smaller schools and these other, not mid-major, but like these other smaller conferences. Like you have Steph Curry from Davidson, you have Paul George from Fresno State, Damian Lillard went to Weber State. Like there's, and then you get to see the March Madness legends get born. You get to watch Steph Curry on Davidson in the tournament. Like remember, we didn't get to watch Ben Simmons at LSU in the tournament. We barely got to watch Cade Cunningham at Oklahoma State in the tournament.
yeah,
Like let's there's plenty more opportunity for potential NBA players to have that March Madness experience if they start letting in, it's not like every conference needs the same amount of teams. I'm not saying that, at all. The SEC should always in the Big 12, the Big East, they should always have the most schools representing their conference in the tournament. But why not let 2 from the Mid-American Conference in? Why not let 2 from the MVC? Just shake things
yeah,
up. You got
yeah.
68 teams to pick from. I think you can make it work.
That's what I'm saying. Ohio State, 51% chance. Ohio State is
Ohio
7
State
and
is
10 in
not a good team.
conference, 15 and 3 overall, and yeah, they are not a good team. Last year, the best shooter in the league or in the country, who was shooting like over 30 points per game, Tommy Bruner, played for Denver. And Denver lost their conference championship. They lost the Big West. I can't even remember what they're in. But dude, he was so fun to watch, but he didn't miss. Like he was so fun to watch. They lost their conference championship, and okay, no more Denver,
Yep.
whatever. Like UCSD right
Yeah.
now
Oh, the Summit
is
League.
leading the Big West. They're 14-2. They're 24-4. Has a 74% chance at making March.
Whew, man.
Where is Denver this year?
Well,
I'm actually curious.
Denver's in the Summit. They're in the Summit League.
Summit, that's where they are. Yes.
Yep. But you know what? Just looking at the Summit League right now, a lot of these teams
They're not good
with good records. North Dakota State's 20-10. St. Thomas, Minnesota, 20-9. South Dakota State's 19-10. Like there's a lot of schools in there with really good records, and the fact that only one of them is going to get to continue their season after March 16th. Well, I guess there's the not in tournament games too, but like, does anyone really care about those?
Yeah, but those not intern like you talking about first 4?
Yeah, like that's not even.
Yeah, but like
even these schools aren't going to make that.
I was about to say, like half the time they give first 4, they'll give it to like one of them will be a small conference champion, and the other will be like some team ranked
Oklahoma
10th in in Oklahoma, and it's like, brother, you're not giving them a shot. Like you're making them go through 2 powerhouse, like not powerhouses, but 2 big conference teams just to try to make it out of the first round. Like,
yeah,
I get it. Like, it's whatever. A committee that talks about it. I get, maybe Oklahoma is better than St. Thomas, Minnesota. Maybe they are. They probably are. But don't care. Like,
Mhm.
you don't need 15 teams coming out of the
Yeah.
Big Ten.
Yeah, you at least take the best teams from that conference. I understand that. You wanna get a good few, but you don't need the fact that Oklahoma has a 55% chance of making the tournament when they are the 3rd worst team in the SEC. It's ridiculous.
And I get
There's
the SEC, but still.
I mean, I wouldn't even
Give
say
2
I wouldn't
spots to a
say
small conference.
Georgia shouldn't be in the tournament. Texas, Arkansas, I don't think they should be in it. I mean, Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, I don't think they deserve it either.
Ohio
I mean,
State,
take the
Indiana, Nebraska. Like,
oh,
you
man.
can make a lot of shouts for a lot of smaller schools.
Mhm.
West Virginia, Baylor, TCU. Like,
Yep, and
come
those
on.
are the schools that
Come on.
aren't getting the coverage, the recognition. Like a lot of these schools, like a school like Oklahoma, they can go to March, get bounced in the first round. All right, cool. We're still Oklahoma. We still have
Yeah.
all this other stuff to look forward to. Some of these other smaller conference schools, they only have one thing to look forward to, and that is trying to make the tournament and try to get some recognition, some, their name out there, try to get some people to watch them. And, there's going to be schools out there that you've never heard of that you watch and you see them perform and they win a couple games. And next thing you know, they're a Cinderella team.
Mhm.
But I'd rather see a potential Cinderella team than a team like Oklahoma who, okay, cool. If they win out, well, they're in the SEC. They should be winning anyway. But they're a team that sucks in the SEC. So what's the point of letting them play in March when if they can't even beat the SEC schools? What they're gonna upset a team like Duke or a team like an Iowa State or a Houston? Like, no, there's no point
Give
in
a
even having
smaller
them in
school a
there.
shot. Give a smaller school a shot. Like,
Yep.
it's just crazy. I mean, like,
It is.
imagine Drake's playing Oklahoma. Dude, I could see Drake winning that game.
100%.
I'd give him a shot at winning that game.
100%.
Like,
And then if they do win that, all of a sudden it's a big upset because people forget that Oklahoma's not a good team. They just see, SEC school, they must be good. It's not always the case.
it's
Not
crazy.
always
It's crazy talk.
the case.
It's
Yep. All right, back to the scores from Saturday. We'll continue to dive through here. Tennessee, Texas A&M. Tennessee with a big win over the 7th best team in the nation. Tennessee's at 6th, 77-69. The final for Tennessee, it was Chaz Lanier leading the way with 30 points, 5 rebounds on the day. A&M had a solid scoring output from some of their starters. Wade Taylor. Yeah, Dalton Knecht going back to college after getting benched in LA.
There.
He probably wishes he was still there.
Yeah, low-key, dude.
But Tennessee, another one of those, like Tennessee and Texas A&M, they're both schools that
yes, they should.
I would say they deserve to be in. Yeah, they're good teams. They're in like the middle of the pack in the SEC, but that still makes you a good team. They're not all the way down at the bottom. Oregon with the upset over Wisconsin in overtime, 77-73. I mean, it's a big upset. I don't really think there isn't that much coming out of the Big Ten this year anyway.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. Michigan State and Michigan are solid. Maryland, like all these Big Ten schools just seem kind of okay to me. Like Michigan State's going to be good. UCLA.
I could see Michigan State getting bounced in the first round, dude.
Yeah. Everybody's gettable. That's the thing.
So
everybody's
annoying.
gettable.
Yeah, but I like, do I see like Duke, Florida, Alabama, Auburn? Do I see those teams getting bounced in the first round? No.
No, that'd be a shock.
Maybe Houston, Tennessee. No. Like where?
But
okay,
then
I'm looking
you get to some of these.
Yeah, I'm looking at the top 25. Who's a team I could see getting bounced in the first round? Right now, Iowa State. Iowa State is not playing good right now.
Yep.
Texas Tech, maybe. St. John's, no. I think St. John's could be the number 1 overall team right now. They're playing insane. Wisconsin, yeah. Michigan, 100%.
I can see Wisconsin getting bounced.
Purdue, the fact
Purdue,
that
Michigan
they're in the top
State.
25.
Yep.
Michigan State, yes. Missouri, yes. Marquette, if they go back to how they were playing at the beginning of the season, no. But how they're playing now, yes. Kentucky, yes. Clemson, maybe not.
I could see Clemson getting bounced. Arizona too.
Arizona, yes.
Maryland.
yes.
I could see a lot of these
Memphis,
teams getting
yes.
bounced
Kansas,
first round.
Like,
a lot of these teams could definitely get bounced first round.
Yo, shout out High Point for receiving
in
votes.
one vote.
Get one vote.
What conference is High Point even in?
High Point is in the Big Sky.
They are.
They were in March last year. They played in March last year.
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir. Big old High Point. George Mason.
Or wait, no. Oh, sorry. No, they're in the Big South.
The Big South. Sorry, there's too many bigs, dude. Anyway, dude, George Mason. Dude, this is crazy, right? This is the voters, right? Hear me out. A10 schools, right? So let's go back to the bubble watch. Let's go back, let's go to, all right. Let me pull this up really quick. Where was I? So, you're looking at, these mid-major teams, locks. So out of the A10, VCU is the top team to get in, 72%. And then you got George Mason at 28%, right? You go to the AP top 25.
And George Mason.
Where are the votes for VCU?
Yeah, George Mason's getting 15 votes. Do the 15 people that voted for George Mason not realize that VCU's ahead of them? Or do they just not have confidence in VCU?
They're tied in conference. But you're telling me, is it not the same people putting this together?
Yeah.
Like, what? Huh? How does this make sense? You're telling me you think VCU is going to make it, but hey, let's give George Mason the points. Like, huh? This doesn't make no sense.
I guess maybe as far as the bubble watch is kind of thinking more long term, and the AP top 25 is specifically how they feel about them and how they're playing right now.
Well, hey,
but
we
still,
can dig into it. We can dig into it.
Still, it just,
what's VCU? Let's see their end of the schedule. Let's see their schedule to end the season. They have 3 games left. Richmond, terrible.
Okay.
Davidson is meh.
Yeah, they're nothing special.
Duquesne, Dookie. Dayton. Okay, Dayton. That'll be a good game to end the season.
Dayton will be good. All right, but
they could go 3-1. They could go 3-1.
These other teams that the other teams that they're playing, they're not that much comp.
George Mason. All right, let's see what we got. Fordham. Ooh, Fordham, the last team in the A10. Duquesne. Dookie. LaSalle. Second worst team in the A10. Richmond. I don't know if they're thinking long term, Vinny. I think they just are confusing themselves.
Yeah, maybe they just didn't realize which team.
Put me in there. Put me in, coach. Give me a vote. How do I get a vote?
Well,
I think I deserve a vote.
I believe you got to work for, what is it, the Associated Press that does the poll? Is that what AP stands for? Athletic Press, something along those lines. Yeah, maybe we'll send in your application soon. Get you in there.
And maybe the AP poll is it the Associated Press? That's crazy. That is, yeah.
I don't know
that's
it is
crazy.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, they also have the
Don't
coaches
get me started
poll too.
on the AP poll.
Like, let's see. All right. Well, in the coaches poll, VCU got 2, George Mason got 1. I mean, yeah, the coaches poll is always going to be a little bit different. San Diego got a few. Let's see, Illinois got a few here and there, but Illinois also just got smoked by Duke, so I don't see Illinois getting more votes coming into this next top 25. But I'm curious your opinion on the Duke-Illinois game too, because it's not a conference game. It was something that I guess used to be more common back in like the 60s and so on. And then since then, they've kind of gone away with non-conference games during conference schedule. But Last year, I want to say it was Gonzaga and Kentucky that played a non-conference game deep in the conference schedule.
Yeah.
Now Duke and Illinois just play Saturday at Madison Square Garden, and it wasn't a good game. Duke absolutely demolished them, but
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea to have one random non-conference game sprinkled in there just to give yourself a little break from conference play and to see some of these teams that you don't get to see throughout the regular season, but you will probably see them come March.
Yeah, I think each team should do one.
Mm-hmm.
I think each team, you put like an ACC school up against a
A
Big
Big
Ten school
10
or a
or
big,
Big
yeah,
12, something
like,
like that. A Big
yeah, and
East
then
and
you
an
put like
SEC.
maybe like a Big Sky versus a Big West and a Big South versus a Summit League. Like, you
Mhm.
do kind of what you do in preseason, and you match up. But I know it probably would never happen, but you schedule it part of the way through the season. So like you leave an opening where it's like versus to be determined,
Yep.
and then you get those teams where, so you get like a Drake to play a Bryant.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, that
you
way
get
you're making sure you get the best teams
yeah,
on your
like
schedule.
you're able to
But then
to
theoretically,
see,
you wouldn't have to leave a TBD on every team's schedule, just some of the big conference
but
ones
you
that you
don't
want to have a non-conference
but you
game.
don't know how well teams are going to do.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you don't need every single team in the Big Sky to have a TBD. Like maybe one or two of those teams is gonna play someone out, or you do end up doing it for every single conference, and then
I think you might have to, because if you think about it, because
uh
you don't know, like, look at the
yeah.
America
But
East,
I
whatever.
guess like
Like,
yeah, you're not gonna have a Big
but
Sky school play an SEC school. You're gonna have them play an America East or a ASUN.
yeah, like, I'm saying, like, think about it. Like, going into the season, you look at the America East, you think UMass Lowell is going to be a top team. You got to give them a one, but then they're not as good this year. They're still going to
Mhm.
have one, and then you have other teams that maybe you don't think NJIT is going to make a good conference performance, but imagine they're top of the conference. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like you have to give each
then you
team,
need mhm.
because you don't know how the season's going to shape up.
Yeah. Honestly, what I wanna see them implement is how
Unless
we
you
have
do a
been.
thing where it's like halfway through the season, like they evaluate who gets one.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing. If you're gonna do that, you gotta decide at the same time for every single team. You gotta have, like, one
Exactly.
set day
But
where
then they'll
whoever
find a
makes the
way to make the
schedule.
big conferences they get their
Yeah.
choice of when they want to do it.
Yeah, exactly. But what I wanna see implemented is kinda like how we have in college football. We get a rivalry week going towards the end of the season, sort of that last week of
They
conference
kind of
play.
do that.
Like, yeah, but I mean non-conference rivals. Like, I wanna see a Florida State,
Yeah.
or I mean, that of course, that's the only one I can think of, but
Syracuse Pitt,
yeah, exactly. Like, I wanna see some of these
Penn
rivalries
State,
that
Penn,
go across yeah, there you go. Um,
Ohio probably would be Miami, Ohio.
yeah,
Ohio State would be Michigan, obviously.
mhm. Yeah, but, like, tell me that wouldn't be cool to have rivalry games in college basketball too, especially with how insane the crowds get at some of these schools.
Yeah.
I think it'd be pretty sick. Now, I'd have to go through and kind of figure out other rivalries because, you have your basic ones, but a lot of them are within your own conference, like Michigan State's, of course, and Michigan, Ohio State, like they're all in the Big Ten already. But I guess when it comes to that, it'd be tough to get some of these mid-major schools. Like, who's UC Irvine's rival?
I mean,
Couldn't
I
tell you.
think, but I think
But
what
they
it
can
is
figure
with
it out.
a lot of these teams, a lot of these mid-major teams, they know who their rivals are. Like,
Mhm.
we may not know, and a lot of people
True.
may not know because nobody watches those conferences.
Yep.
But UTSD, when it comes to, that's the Big West, correct? Or that's the
UTSD.
Mountain West. I'm losing track, dude.
Hold on, where's UTSD? They're in
There's
the
so many. There's so many. Is it the Big West? I'm losing track.
what do you say? You say UTSA?
UCSD.
Oh, UCS.
UC right here, Big West. Yeah, Big West.
Yep.
So like there's UCSD, UC Irvine, UC Riverside, UCSB, UC Davis. Like there's a lot of Cal teams.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then there's Cal State Northridge, Cal State Bakersfield, Cal State Fullerton, like Cal Poly. The Big West is literally just let's take Cal schools, and then let's throw Hawaii in there. But like I think if you look it up, like I'm assuming like UCSD will probably be like UC Irvine. Who is UCSD rival? Okay, UCSD's rival includes San Diego State.
Oh, okay.
And UCSB.
Okay.
UC Santa Barbara. Like, who is UC Irvine's rival?
But like San Diego State, that's
Long
a
Beach State
rivalry.
Cheer on the Anteaters in the black and blue rivalry game as UC Irvine plays Long Beach State.
So there's options out there for these, mid-major schools with out of conference rivals. They could figure something out there.
Yeah, like they all know who their rivals are.
Yeah.
But just a lot of people don't, because a lot of people don't watch.
Yeah, like I don't know. I couldn't tell you who the Lindenwood Lions' biggest rival is.
Yeah, like I mean, you think about like Binghamton, for example. They started the battle for the interstate where they play Lemoyne, like, and then Cornell's right down the road, Albany's right there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know who would technically be Binghamton's rival, but
well, I mean, in conference, Albany, but
Albany 100%. But it's like
out of conference,
there's
I
these
guess
teams
it'd be that
okay, yeah, basketball, Albany and Lemoyne. Two schools began a rivalry series called the Battle of the Interstate.
So it's certainly possible to get some of these, even the smaller, small conference schools. They all still have rivals outside of their conference, and that's what I want to see. I want to see, that those heated matchups, because when else would you get to see a Binghamton play a Lemoyne? Like, yes, they'll usually play like at the beginning of the season in non-conference, but at that point, everyone knows that those beginning of the season non-conference games really don't matter.
Yeah.
All that matters is how you play in your conference. And if you throw one of these rivalry games in the midst of their conference schedule, because then at that point you're thinking about March, everybody's talking about where you're going to sit in the standings, then those games actually matter because they can have an impact on your ranking. But at the beginning of the season, everyone knows that it could be turned around like that. So I think having a rivalry week in college basketball would be a pretty cool thing. And it gives, these schools more opportunities to see opponents outside their conference. Because once you get to March, it's not one big conference tournament anymore. You're facing schools that you've probably never seen play before, besides on film. You've never experienced their style of play, whatever the case may be. And that can be a big reason why we see some of the upsets we do in March Madness. But buddy, I cannot wait for this year's tournament. I am beyond excited.
Dude, I love it. I love March Madness.
It's going to be
March Madness.
I got to put in for time off
tournament
now.
In the world, dude. Yeah, I mean,
if work calls, sorry, I'm sick.
Bro, it's sick.
I refuse to come in during March Madness.
First four is Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yep.
First round is Thursday, Friday. So it's so cool. Like they started during the week.
Yeah, I like
that. And you know what? That's weird to me too. Like there's another Bruce Juno conspiracy theory that just popped into his brain. They don't start the weekend series is the second round when they think it's gonna be majority of big teams.
Yeah, well, they know
not very nice.
Yeah, well, they know for a fact that, yes, you're going to have as many people tuned in to the ones during the week, but like, it's going to be people just watching to see if there's upsets and stuff. You want people to actually sit and be locked in for a game. You need those big schools. And that's the other thing. When those big schools are matching up, you want it to be on a weekend when you can have as many people watch as possible. So I see what they're doing. they thought they were slick, Bruce, but we caught on to
Mhm.
them.
Yeah, dude, I'm calling them out right now. Dude, we should. I feel like next year, as we grow, because you people out there know we're about to grow. I think
We're
we should
growing every
do
day.
a RFS poll. We should absolutely just kind of keep on each other's asses about
Mhm.
college basketball. We should put together our own poll and
Our own
see
top
how well
25.
it shapes up come end of the season.
You're talking new weekly poll every Monday,
Yeah,
just
like we
like
do a little
AP.
research preseason. We put together one, because kids are graduating, kids are
Yeah,
transferring. It's going to be a little painful because of the transfer portal,
that is true.
but why not? What
I think
sport without
that'd be
sport?
fun.
You know?
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. And then we could do that for football. We could do that
Yeah.
for multiple college sports. That'd be cool. That'd be a lot of fun. I
Make
think
our own poll.
I think we got to write that down in our little notes app once we
Yeah,
get
that's what I'm
done here
saying.
because
We're
that'll
gonna
be good.
grow, and we're gonna start our own poll.
Yep.
The
Just
young
wait.
bucks are bringing the polls back.
Yep. Just wait. There's going to be no more AP top 25. It's only going to be an RFS top 25.
That's what I'm saying. And there's gonna be March Madness, and then there's gonna be April Apocalypse, which is the teams that we decide make the tournament.
Yep. Yep. It's going to be nothing but, it's going to be nothing but North Texas, UC
Yeah, North
Irvine,
Texas is gonna be getting a
Rice.
nod. You bet your ass. North Texas.
Hear me out. What if, while at the same time we have the top 64 or 68 teams in one tournament, let's take the bottom 64. Let's take Charlotte and Rice and
The
Fordham.
battle of the bots.
Yep. Let's get the Miami Hurricanes out there at 2-14 in conference play.
Dude,
Let's get
that's
Colorado and DePaul. Every team that's at the very bottom of their of their conference. Let's get those guys
every
in one
single
tournament.
conference their bottom one team.
Yep, and see how crazy that ends up.
Oh
Because
my
imagine
God.
a South Carolina upstate Spartans win that tournament, and what would be crazy actually? We do it right before the regular March Madness. Maybe a smaller size tournament. Maybe instead of the first four matchups like they have, or last four in, whatever they call it, we take the bottom teams and put them in a little tournament. Winner gets a 16 seed in March Madness.
Wow.
We leave a
See,
16.
but then they're gonna leave out another mid major. Then they're gonna screw somebody else.
All right. Yeah, true. What you don't want to see a 1-15 Cal State Fullerton in March Madness?
Dude, I'd love it. I'd love to see it. Or like who's one of the bottom teams right now? Who's a 3-win team?
Green Bay. There you go. Yeah, Green Bay. That's probably the worst team in college basketball.
Mississippi Valley State Delta Devils.
I forgot about them. Yeah, the Delta Devils. Hey, don't sleep.
We got they're 3-24. East Texas
Oh,
A&M
man.
Lions. They're 3-25.
Yep.
Give them a shout. Give them a holler.
Just give them a chance.
See what they're made of.
Let's get the 4-25 San Diego Toreros in there.
The 3-24 Canisius Golden Griffins.
Hey, don't sleep on Canisius, man.
Don't sleep on Canisius, dude. They're 3-13 in conference, dude.
I heard they're coming out of the MAC pretty strong this year.
Yeah, dude. Well, I remember last season, dude. Chicago State. So they're now in the Northeast Conference, right? Last season, they weren't in a conference. They were just there. And it was really funny to me because I was like, how is a team just there? But it was so funny because they would just play really good teams sometimes, and they would lose by like 3. Like they would be like 21-point dogs, and they'd lose by like 3. And it was the
Damn.
funniest stuff to watch. They were the biggest team, I think, in college basketball that could be on potential upset watch every single game. And it
Dude,
was
yeah,
awesome.
and then you got these other teams like shaking over there because they're like, dude, we can't be the first team to lose to these guys.
That's what I'm saying. And they didn't finish their season well, but at the same time, it was just so funny. And this season, they went through their whole non-conference schedule, starting out the season 0-16. And
Oh
now they're
man.
4-25. And they're at the bottom of the NEC. But it was just I'll never forget that because I remember being like, why are they just not in a conference? But they're over here almost beating
oh my
Ole
god, they
Miss.
almost beat Duke.
It's crazy. It was so funny, but
Oh man.
yeah, now they're not very good this year. But
yeah, that is, that's the tail of the tape. Like a lot of these teams that make Cinderella March Madness runs, like look at Oakland from last year. They're sitting in the middle of the Horizon League right now, probably not going to make March Madness again unless they go on a crazy run. But yeah, exactly. Like a lot of these schools, you may be good one year and then a lot can change very quickly. But March is right around the corner, Bruce, and it's going to be a good time, my friend. Cannot wait. That'll wrap things up here for us today on the Regular Fan Show. A lot of basketball today, but it's the right time of year for it. March Madness, NBA in full swing. We'll get more into the NBA tomorrow, touch on a little bit of hockey, see what's going on around the world of soccer, as Bruce, our soccer expert, is always doing a great job keeping me up to date on that. I've learned a little bit more about the different leagues and how they all operate. I've been doing some studying, so don't worry, Bruce.
That's what we like to hear, dude.
I'll be ready. Don't you worry. I'm still looking for my team, but I think I'm going to find a team in the Bundesliga first. Start with the German
think you're going
league.
Bundesliga?
Yeah, well, I've always been a big Germany fan. I mean, I took German all throughout school growing up, so it only makes sense I start with the Bundes and go from there, then try to expand my soccer knowledge to
I think
champions and all that.
If you're gonna be you're gonna become a Bundesliga fan. So you can only get one team. Just remember that. You can't have a team in every league. Just remember
I know.
Believe
me, I know.
I just request that you do not pick Dortmund, you do not pick Bayern Munich, and you do not pick Leverkusen.
Well, I'll tell you, Bayern Munich was one that I was
I don't doubt they were, mister. I'm gonna become the best. I'm gonna pick the best team.
We'll see. I gotta watch these teams play, see whose style of play I enjoy the most. I'm not saying it's definitely gonna be Bayern.
Gladbach.
I also don't want to pick the I don't want to pick the team that ends up being the worst out of the Bundesliga, but we'll see.
Be a Mönchengladbach team fan.
I don't know. I'll tell you one thing. It's definitely not going to be Holstein Kiel. At the bottom of the standings.
They're going back down to Bundesliga too, real quick.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. Me and Bruce will be back at it tomorrow morning for the Tuesday edition of the Regular Fan Show, 11 to 12. Check out all the socials at the Regular Fan Show on Twitter. Well, it's at Regular Fan Show on Twitter, but everything else.
You could type in the regular fan show. It'll typing it everywhere. It'll pop right on up there, guy.
Hit that like and subscribe and that follow button. Ding the bell. Get those notifications on for us. Bruce, I'm sorry. I lost my little basketball, so I don't know if I can do my mini shot today. I got to find it. We might need you to take it up for me. I looked around. I have no idea. Well, honestly, my problem is the last time we did a show, I tried, doing my mini hoop shot, and then I just let it go. I didn't even grab the ball after I shot it, so it's buried somewhere in here.
El Doggo puppered.
Yep, the dog stole it.
I found mine. Also, happy birthday to myself.
Yes, happy birthday to Bruce. I saw that this morning and meant to mention that on the show and completely slipped my mind once we got into the Four Nations and the basketball. But yes, happy birthday to Bruce.
We're on a birthday show. We're going lefty. No, we're not.
Yep, got to get the mic out of the way.
Jeez, I suck.
Hey, it's all right. We're rusty. It's been a while. We got to get back in the lab. Get back to practice.
I suck.
Once again, thank you everybody for tuning in. Happy birthday to Bruce. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning.
Appreciate you, brothers.
More basketball, more hockey, all the great stuff here on the Regular Fan Show by the fans for the fans. Hit that like and subscribe. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Peace, peace.
Later, y'all.